And welcome to this special recording for Table Talk. Let me remind you that the team at UMI is here to take the hard work out of finding and using the best information, expertise, and finance. Our role is to help the businesses go further. My name is Pascal Fintoni, and my colleague Kanta is back with me to welcome our very special guest to talk about LinkedIn, Judith Parsons. Hi, Judith.
Hi there.
And for those of you that don't know Judith Parsons, she was a trainer on the Digital Knowledge Exchange program, helping business owners to unlock their LinkedIn potential.
So we're so pleased to have you back with us because we're fast approaching the end of the summer holidays. The business calendar will be back on force, and we want to make sure that people take full advantage of their LinkedIn profile to get more leads. But before we get into the Q&A as such, Judith, can you remember when you first came across LinkedIn, and what was your kind of journey that led you to being who you are today?
Of course, yes, certainly. So I always say that my love affair with LinkedIn started on the 14th of February 2006. And I wish I still had my original profile because I think, like most people, I created a LinkedIn profile and didn't do much with it at all. And so it was kind of left there for a long time. And then at the time I was working for a telecoms company. I was a B2B marketer. I was working with the sales team to generate leads. And I took voluntary redundancy and was looking at online marketing and all this kind of stuff. And I was working with the client on their WordPress website. And when they said, what about this LinkedIn malarkey then? And that's when I went and revisited it, and this was back in 2012, and I suddenly realized that, wow, this is, a fantastic business development program, platform even for businesses and sales teams and things like that. So I've just been using it realistically ever since then, and really completely changed my business away from WordPress websites and online marketing to just focused on LinkedIn. That's pretty much how I got to where I am today, because I just do LinkedIn. I don't do any other social media, just LinkedIn.
And like you were saying, I think this has been our journey for all of us. You set up the account, you're not sure what to do, then life and work takes over, and then you go back to it much later.
Absolutely. And I think for a lot of people, especially people who are coming in and starting their own businesses, it's then when they think about LinkedIn. Think, oh, actually LinkedIn could be a good tool for my business and things like that, so they do go back to it. But that's one of the core challenges for people, is that they don't find LinkedIn very easy to use. It's not very intuitive, and unfortunately LinkedIn drives you down that CV route. So a lot of people think it should be for their CV, which I guess if you're in a job, potentially you might want to have significant parts of your career on there, but not for business development.
So there's three things that I would like to go through, almost three segments to this Q&A that Kent and I have been thinking about. So the first one, I want to actually explore, you just mentioned the challenge of reconnecting with your LinkedIn profile, and ask you why do you think it's happening at this moment in time. And once we've explored that, I want to move into the second segment of what would be the solutions or the steps you recommend for someone to get more value from their LinkedIn profile. And then I want to close with a third segment, looking maybe at the toolkit, the additional apps or software and more that can make life a little easier as someone that wants to market themselves either as a personal brand or business brand through LinkedIn. So do you have a view as to why people are still a bit hesitant with regard to truly exploiting LinkedIn, and why do you think it's still one that is difficult to understand?
Well, so I think the first one is that they don't actually understand what LinkedIn is, or maybe not what LinkedIn is so much, but what LinkedIn can do for you. And I think the other side of it is that they're a little bit scared of it. Everybody is familiar with Facebook, they understand the Facebook, but for some reason, LinkedIn for some people seems a much scarier place, because they see, oh, it's just business. And it's more B2B than potentially Facebook is, but it's still a people platform. And however you would interact with people face-to-face or on Facebook is how you would interact on LinkedIn at the same way. And then the other thing that I find people do or don't do, if you like, is that they don't know why they're on LinkedIn. So more often than not, somebody just says, oh, you should go and be on LinkedIn. So they go away, get a profile. but they don't think about what it is they want LinkedIn to do for them and see it as part of their overall marketing or business development strategy, in fact. So there's no kind of thought put into it as to what are they going to say. So for example, if you think of websites, people will put a lot of effort and time and money getting the branding right, getting the messaging right, and then but not apply the same sort of thought process to LinkedIn. And yet, you know, in essence, that's what LinkedIn is. It's another mini website. So it gets you found, whether it's a website or Google. So I think, people need to think about why they're on LinkedIn and what they want to do with it. Don't be afraid of it. Honestly, as soon as you know what you're doing, it's like everything, isn't it? It'll be nice and easy. And then think about what you want to say to people. Yeah, would be my thoughts.
So, well, you kind of hinted that it's not that intuitive, despite the fact that it's been around. Is it the longest kind of?
Yes, it's older. It's older than Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. It's 2003 when it was actually originally launched, and it wasn't launched as a CV kind of site anyway. That's kind of, and recruitment is a huge part of LinkedIn. So I think a lot of people see that, but I think the problem is that LinkedIn has a process. So when you create an account, you start your profile. It wants you to put your education on there. It wants you to list all your jobs that you've got and things like that. And so it kind of, everybody, when they're unfamiliar with the platform, think that's what they need to put on there. And that's what I mean. It's about coming back to what is it you actually want LinkedIn to do for you? Do you want it to help you to get another job? Or do you want it to help you promote your business? Do you want it to help you be there as a publishing platform for your content and another mini website? So, and that's what I mean about the CV route. People don't kind of think it can be adapted and changed how you want it to be, as opposed to going down what LinkedIn says or what you think LinkedIn says it should be, if that makes sense.
It does, and I think for me, there's almost 3 passes of getting your LinkedIn profile to work for you. There's a phase where you discover for the very first time what those different fields are, and you kind of go through the process of populating it so that it goes live. Then you almost need to pull away from it and go back and start to use the different features. So there's different phase of discovery. And then once you've done that, you start to really make it work for you and almost break the mold and sometimes not even stick to the rules. So I know you showed me some examples where the box may read the following, but actually the content you put in there could be whatever you want it to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the thing, is to think about. So a perfect example is education. Not everybody has an education, or your education isn't relevant. So I'll see people that may have got sort of their GCSEs from when they were like 18 or 16 or whatever. And you don't need those on there. They are not relevant to what you do now. So the education section is just a free text box. You can put what you like in there. So in mine, I have my email address on there, because on the desktop, you can see your email address in the header section. The education is then in your header section, so you can really see my email address. And if we think about websites, if you think of your LinkedIn profile as a website, if you think about a website, everybody says you've got to have a call to action on there. People have got to be able to email you, call you, or sign up to your mailing list. And that's ultimately what we want to do on LinkedIn. We want people to find us. We want people to be engaged with us. We want people to want to know more about us, and we want to make it easy then for people to get in touch with us. So wherever you can make and utilize LinkedIn to your advantage, that's what you should be thinking about.
Excellent. Kenta?
Yeah. In terms of like do's and don'ts, what would you say 3 like musts that you need on your LinkedIn profile to really stand out?
Well, so if we look at the branding, first of all, you need a good profile photo, and a good headshot of you smiling, looking professional, like the type of person your ideal client would want to do business with. That's very important, because again, you know, that's when somebody lands on your profile, they are going to make a decision about you. They will, within seconds, you'll have given them an impression about whether they want to work with you or not. So that how you come across visually is very important. So having a good headshot, nothing, you know, no partners, kids, pets, nights out, silly hats, whatever, you looking professional. The only sort of caveat I would say to that is I've seen some people, I saw a guy who's a dog portrait photographer, and he's got a picture of him with his dog. Now that makes sense to me. Or if you're if you are a photographer and you've got your camera in your hand, those sorts of things are fine. But generally speaking, good headshot. And then you want to use your header banner at the top as well for your branding. So my view is that if somebody finds you on Google and they have the option of website or LinkedIn, it shouldn't matter which they go to. So you want the consistency of branding across all your online presence, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, website. So having that nice consistent branding. So that would be certainly the first thing. The other thing that you want to think about then is keywords. So again, if people have done a website and they've done some keyword analysis and they know which keywords that people would type into Google that drives the most traffic to the website, then that needs to be used on LinkedIn as well. So if you think about the headline which appears under your name, a lot of people will just put job title and company name. So, but generally speaking, people are not looking for a founder, an owner, a business owner, a managing director, a sales director, or whatever. They're looking for some particular expertise. So outsourced HR, LinkedIn trainer, video expert, they're looking for particular things that are going to help them solve those problems. And that's what your headline is very, very important in helping you get found on LinkedIn. And it also follows you around when you're being active on LinkedIn. So having just your job title is a waste of space. You want your keywords. You want a keywords in there and a benefit-led statement so people can instantly see what it is you do and how you help. And then my other thing is that I would say is a call to action. What do you want people to do? You need to, as I said before, realistically, the objective is to get people off LinkedIn and into a conversation. So LinkedIn is there to open the door. LinkedIn is there to raise awareness. LinkedIn is there to help you meet people who would be good potential clients for you. You've then got to try and get them into a conversation. So if you've got a mailing list, a free offer, in the about section, you've got about 3 lines, approximately 250 characters before you have to click on that see more button. And that bit, you want to say what the pain is that you solve and how people can get more information. So do you want them to email you, ring you, or your website landing page? So because when somebody, sorry, I'm going on here, so do tell me if I need to stop, but when somebody lands on your profile, it's that above the fold thing that they're going to see first. So your header banner, your profile photo, your name, your headline, and the about section. That's above the fold. That's what they're going to see first. That has got to grab them.
Okay.
So before we move on to asking for the steps that you recommend with your clients, I want to build on what you've just said. And so the reaction that I get sometime in workshops is people say, I am uncomfortable selling myself as an individual. I would much rather sell the business. That makes any sense. And I think, have you found ways to make people more comfortable about selling themselves, or at least promoting their expertise as opposed to promoting the brand of the business?
Yes. So my view on that is that you are not selling yourself. You are there as an expert to help people. Your target audience needs you. They need the solutions that you offer. So instead of thinking of you as selling yourself, think of how you can help your target audience and how the solutions that you deliver have helped them. And let your target audience, let your ideal client, let your clients basically do the talking for you. So use examples of how you've actually helped your existing clients, what the challenge that they had, what the results that they've had, how they've moved forward. And so actually, it's not about you, because nobody cares about you. It is not about you. It's about how you help and the benefits. And if you focus on that and think about helping and serving as opposed to selling, then I don't think you can go wrong.
Yeah, so it's about the language, isn't it?
Yes.
It's saying I help as opposed to I sell, the following.
Exactly. And the other thing I would actually go back to in that is what I avoid. You can't avoid it completely, but minimize the number of times you say I and me and my and we, because we want to use LinkedIn as a conversation starter. So I say that LinkedIn, forget about LinkedIn being a social media platform, because it's not. It's a mini website. It's also the closest thing to face-to-face.
What are you saying?
It's the closest thing to face-to-face networking you can get online as well. It is another networking tool. So, but because we don't have that audible thing, you know, we can't do verbally talk about our 60 seconds. So when somebody lands on your profile, you've got to build rapport and start a conversation. So I like to use the word you and your. Do you struggle with? Are you looking for? Do you need? And it's that kind of language we're wanting to have a conversation.
I'm so pleased we've got Judith with us
Yeah.
today. So, okay, let's move on to then the second segment. You really impressed when you did the workshop. You had a 3-step approach and a model that people really connected well with. So if you're happy to share what those
Absolutely.
are and give some details, that'd be lovely.
Yeah, so I work on a 3-step process, as you say, and there's 3 steps. So get found, get noticed, get clients. So the get found is all about your LinkedIn profile and what we've just realistically been talked about, because fundamentally it's an opportunity to get found. I mean, LinkedIn is free, so why would you not have a LinkedIn profile? Make sure it's consistent with your website, have all the right keywords on it, the right messaging, the right branding, etc. It's a mini website. So, and what that does, it helps you get found on Google, it helps you get found on LinkedIn. It's part and parcel. So for me, if people are going to be on LinkedIn and they do nothing else, just have a good profile. That's client focused. It's focused on the people that you help and how you help, etc., and their challenges. So that's all about the getting found part of it. The next step, but what I say to people, that is very important step, but it's also passive, because once it's done, you can kind of leave it and you carry on doing whatever you do, because not everybody is going to want to use LinkedIn actively, because it might not be their preferred platform. You know, their clients may be elsewhere online. But if they're going to have a profile, just make it a good one and you'll be fine. So the second step, though, is what are you going to do then to help drive traffic to that profile, like we would do a website? So we need to get active. We need to start being visible. And that's all about posting content, and it's also about engaging, because, again, it's about having conversations with people. It's not necessarily just pushing content out there, but it's also having conversations. So you need to be posting content that's educational, that positions you as an expert, and then going after those conversations where you can add value to people in your network. You can search on LinkedIn for conversations where you can actually actively participate with like-minded people in your target audience. So that's all about attracting people to you, because what you're going to do is start popping up in people's news feeds, and you're going to be self-selecting. People will go, oh yes, I've seen Judy there, I'm going to go and talk to her and stuff. So you start being a magnet almost and attracting people to your profile. And then the third step is the get clients, but this fundamentally is all about growing your network, because it is a bit of a double-edged sword. It's a fine line between quality and quantity. You need to build a network. And again, if we think of LinkedIn like face-to-face networking, you're going to get better results with a larger network than a smaller network. But equally, when you think about networking, you've got to go to the right networking groups. So you've got to make sure that your network's built up of the right people, the people that you want to meet. So that's all about using the tools within LinkedIn to find the people that you want to get in front of and start growing your network in the right way. And it's about connecting, and it's about following up, and it's about asking for meetings. So those are the 3 steps that I like to go through.
So can we go back to the first one?
Yes.
Kanta, did you have a question or a thought about the get found?
Not at this moment.
So I'll go for one, which you and I discussed before. One thing about LinkedIn, there's almost little hidden secrets, almost, things you can do on a profile that they don't tell you. There's no real manual and so on. So have you found ways to add interest to the profile that people perhaps are not aware of? So
I think one thing to remember with LinkedIn is that a lot of traffic to LinkedIn is from the mobile. So 60% they reckon of people go to LinkedIn from the profile. So one of the things that I would say, a couple of things that I recommend people to do, so realistically you kind of have to format your profile for mobile users, really. And there's a couple of things there that I recommend. One is, if you do have a mailing list, if you put that within the first 100 characters of your about section, so your URL, it's actually visible when people go to your profile on the mobile, and they can directly click on that, and it'll take them, it's a hyperlink basically, it'll take them to their website so they can go and sign up. So if you want to drive traffic to a landing page like that, then it's really good to use your URL in there. The other thing is, under the About section, which used to be called the Summary, for 15 odd years it's been called Summary, they then changed it to About. Don't you just love LinkedIn doing that? But underneath there you can add media. So you can add, you can upload videos. We can't upload videos, you link to videos. You can add presentations, pictures, that kind of thing. Now, when you look at that on the mobile, if you have lots of them, all you get is little squares, and you can't really see what they are. What's the best thing if you really want to drive people to a landing page is just have one media, a link to your website, and then it's visible across the whole of the width of the mobile. So it's much more visible about what it is and where people click. So for me, those are the sorts of things that I would be looking at, is what is, you want your most important action or piece of media or download. So if you look at mine is some tips for your profile. It's just a double-sided PDF. People can click on that and it's there straight away for them. So what is the single most important thing that you want to help, you know, that you can give somebody or you want them to do, like sign up for a free offer?
Are there some fields that you found that are not particularly useful in the context of building a network and promoting a brand, where, you know, even though they are physically present and it feels like you have to kind of fill them in, you think that we can pass?
Oh, now, I guess there's I think you should fill your profile in as much as possible in terms of what's relevant. You certainly don't need to add every job you've ever done in your entire life on there. You know, sometimes I see people have done a job for a month as a, you know, fruit picker or something. You don't need those sorts of things on there. So I think the thing is to focus on what's relevant to what you do now, and that will be of interest and builds credibility to what you do now. So that's one thing. So thinking about the sort of other things that you can add to your profile. So if you speak any other languages, you might want to add that, but don't add English if you are a native English speaker, because you don't need that. Certainly don't add your birthday. I tell people to take that off. Make sure that if you're sending people, you've got your Twitter link on there, make sure that it's the right Twitter link, or if it's no longer relevant, a lot of people might have a personal one that isn't kind of correct for the LinkedIn, then don't have that on. So they have a thing called projects on LinkedIn. And to me, that's not really very visible. So you might say, if you've done some publications or something, you can certainly add them there, but they're not really visible. I think the main things for me are that header section and the about section, your current experience, and then just key past experience that is important to what you do now. And then you want to think about your skills and endorsements at the bottom of the page, because they are what you sell, if you like, not what you're good at. So some people will have all sorts of things on there that they are probably very good at, but they don't necessarily offer as a solution. So I would think about that and keep it fairly limited, and think about what your top 3 keywords are, because those are the ones that are going to get most endorsed because they're really visible. So your top 3 keywords should be your top 3 keywords. What are the most things, you know, the products and services that you offer? And recommendations, and to me that's the most important areas of your profile, really.
Over to you.
So going back to posting content, being relevant and getting noticed, in terms of groups, would you say that's like a really good activity, and is it good to have it shown on your profile further down as well?
So groups is a very good question, actually, and to be honest with you, groups at the moment in LinkedIn aren't great, and I really wouldn't bother being active in groups particularly. They are getting better. So LinkedIn basically ruined groups when at one time you could have a private group and an open group, and if you were a member of an open group and you posted something in there, it went out into your newsfeed. and people that you were connected to but weren't necessarily members of the group could also see that, which was great for helping to promote groups and to encourage activity. But they also argued that it created spam. So what LinkedIn did is that they made all the groups private. So anything that you did within a group, nobody ever saw apart from other group members. And also they kind of stopped the notification. So you never, unless you actually physically went to the group, you never saw anything. So groups are still trying to recover at the moment. You will have noticed that they have brought those notifications back that says, you know, so-and-so's posted, and you'll notice in your newsfeed that if somebody's posted in a group that you're in as well, you'll see that in your newsfeed. But my view with groups is that you should join the groups where your ideal clients hang out, because what groups allow you to do is an opportunity to open the door and start a conversation with people. So when I look for which groups to join, I go onto my prospects or my clients' profiles and I have a look and see what groups they're in, and I join them. So the benefit of groups is purely to extend your network and give you an opportunity to say, oh, I see we're both members of XYZ group, great to connect. So other than that, I certainly wouldn't worry. I don't post into groups at the moment.
Okay. Unless
you know of an active group. So for example, Yorkshire Mafia is a very good active group. But most of them are there's just nothing in there. There's no engagement, no activity, so I wouldn't really worry.
So if we stay with the get noticed, you know, your second step, and you mentioned those two activities. One was to publish your own content, and the second one was to join the conversation. So we stay with the first one. Can you remind us again, what is, in your view, the difference and benefits and pros and cons between a LinkedIn post and a LinkedIn article?
Yes, so articles are, well, fundamentally an article is like a blog. So if you have written a blog for your website, and if anybody's an SEO expert, you're probably going, no, but anyway, let's just move that to one side a minute. So if you've written a blog for your website, you can also put that as an article on LinkedIn. Which is what I would do. So it's a nice, you know, 400 or 500 word document. And what it does is it appears on your profile. And I really think that articles is very, very good for thought leadership. And they're also good for SEO. So if you get the right keywords, it can also get found on Google as well. So articles are really good in that respect, because if somebody is engaged with your profile, they can have a look at what you're writing about as well. And the reason I like articles as well is that because your network is there. If you think about your website, you write a blog, you've then got to get people to see it. Kind of in LinkedIn, they're already your audience, like a pool, they're already there. Now, the problem with articles is that you do have to promote them. You can't just write an article. If you want people to get involved with it and engage, you have to keep promoting it. So you would probably want to tweet about it. You might want to put it on Facebook, potentially. It depends on your strategy and how you want, whether you want people to go to your website or LinkedIn. But for me, what I tell people, if you're going to write an article, you need to create a series of 3 to 5 posts that will take people back to that article. So a post is like a short update. It's up to 1,300 characters, so they are quite long now, but they are much shorter than what an article would be. And they appear on your news feed and in your activity tab. And posts is what most people do. When you first publish an article, you will get something go out onto your news feed to say that you've published an article, and then that's it. What I then do is use that lovely piece of content to create lots of little posts, which you can then post again and again to keep the interest going in that article. Does that answer the question okay?
It does, thank you very much. And have you found, therefore, I suppose it's a bit like how long is a piece of string, but have you found types of articles or types of posts that seem to perform better on LinkedIn?
Well, so articles are, you know, as long as they're educational, thought leadership, giving value, the same sort of principles that you would apply to a blog, you want to apply to an article. From a post perspective, there are different types of posts. You can get text-only posts, you can get image posts, you can upload native video, and that kind of thing. What you want to do when you're posting, there's a couple of things that I see that aren't working very well. And one of them is where you don't add any thought leadership. So LinkedIn, if I take a step back and just explain this. So LinkedIn has a problem in so much that people aren't on the platform very long. They don't spend that long on LinkedIn, where you look at Facebook, Facebook's got a lot of users and they spend a lot longer on the platform. LinkedIn doesn't have as many users and they don't spend as long on the platform. So anybody that wants to post some third-party content to LinkedIn, if a lot of people will just post the link, and what they do is then just copy the title of the article in a LinkedIn post the link, and off it goes. And that adds no value. It doesn't give it. What's important when it comes to posting, regardless of whether it is your own content, other people's content, whether it's a video, an image, or a text post, the important thing is that you're adding your expertise, your thought leadership, and you're putting some context around that post as to why somebody should read it. So you've really got to understand who your audience is and what's of interest to them and how can you help. So, you know, any questions that you get asked, any tips, stories, you know, people, you'll see it sometimes on LinkedIn, they'll go, oh, let's get back Facebook. But, you know, it is a people platform. Authenticity works. People's stories go down a storm. And I think the other thing is I've seen a lot of people do a lot of videos, obviously, and I think people get a little bit bored. I think you should mix it up. Don't just do one type of post. Mix up different types of posts, text posts, image, video, and mix it up. Video is great, obviously, for getting to know people. But I have noticed that native videos where you can upload them directly to LinkedIn, the views have certainly don't seem to be getting as much views as they did when we first got them, sadly.
Yeah, I've noticed the same. And I think it's a combination of not particularly relevant, not particularly timely, and information that no one's asked for, which is cruel. But LinkedIn is a bit more clear-cut than, I would say, Facebook and Twitter, where people will still consume the information even if it's not quite what they're looking for.
So the rule of thumb when it comes to the posting content and why engaging is so important is that you are, I say rewarded for want of a better word, but if you actually engage on LinkedIn with other people, you generally then will get, LinkedIn will see that you're active, and you generally get better reach of your own posts. So there's a kind of rule, you know, 3-to-1. For every post you do, you should be engaging with 3 other people on LinkedIn. So, and for me, engaging is far more important than posting your own content. You need to post your own content, but, you know, I wouldn't get hung up on posting content. For me, post when it's relevant, not just for the sake of it. And I think people are getting a little bit bored of seeing all the videos of people out in the woods or in the car and stuff, aren't they? So I don't have an answer to how to do that, but it's, you know, short, snappy videos. But engaging to me is really, really important on LinkedIn.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. I think it's important to do comments and really get different people's opinions on things and really sharing your thought leadership.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's so coming back to challenges that people have and they think about LinkedIn, they are worried about what to post. They're worried about what people are going to think of them. They're scared of what will happen. And again, if you just put yourself in your client's shoes and think about what is important to them, then you can't go, you know, too wrong. And a lot of times when I look at what people are posting on Facebook, they can still post on LinkedIn. It's still relevant. It's not, you just can't, you know, I can't post it on LinkedIn because I've put it on Facebook. No, I'll go through people's content. I'll look at their Twitter feed. I'll look at their Facebook. There's stuff they're posting there that they're not posting on LinkedIn, and they can. You just have to remember hashtags. We don't have 50 million hashtags, 3 or 4 max, and make them relevant. I hate bugbear alert. Hashtag nice, hashtag today, hashtag love. Make them targeted, you know, make them relevant.
Yeah, and I think that you're right. You know, there is almost that etiquette for each platform, and part of being a skilled online marketer or even business owner is to know what the etiquette is when you walk in a room, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and all the others.
Yes, exactly, yes.
Can we move on to segment or step 3, I beg your pardon, which is around get clients. So my profile is exceptional, thanks to you. Thank you very much, Judith. I'm practiced as I comment, I share, I engage, I reflect, I also post my own things. And I feel therefore I'm ready to make that very, very scary step of making direct contact with people. So then take us through the steps that will work well to get clients then on LinkedIn.
So one of the reasons why engagement for me is so important is because there is no better way to actually start a conversation and get connected with people and grow your network with the right people through engagement. So that's the first thing that I look for. I look for people who are engaging on my content. Am I connected with them? If I'm not connected with them, obviously, then that's a great opportunity to go, thank you for liking or commenting on my post, be great to connect. Because the challenge with LinkedIn, there's 26 million profiles on LinkedIn in the UK alone, but not everyone is active. And what you want to do when it comes to that step 3, that growing your network and getting clients, is to get in front of the people who are active, because knocking on the door of somebody who never actually goes on LinkedIn or is only on there periodically is going to be quite slow. So the engagement piece really comes into play here, because what you want to be doing is looking out for people who are in your network who are active, and you could do that through a couple of ways. First of all is find those influencers. Now, I'm not saying they're influencers as in they're, celebrities, but they're influencers in terms that they have a large network of your target audience. So, and what you want to do is connect with them. And as I say, if you go and look at somebody's activity and start liking it and start engaging with it, and then you go and connect with them, 99% of the time, they will connect with you. And then if you start looking at who's engaging with their content, you can then go and connect with those people as well, because that's what I mean about being visible, and you're popping up on people's news feeds, in the notifications. People will start seeing you. They'll start seeing you on your news feed and things like that, but you're getting in front of the right people, and that's the key, the right people. Who is it you want? Even if, so they say kind of 40% of LinkedIn users are active. I can't quantify that figure, it's what I've heard, and I think it's true that there is a large proportion of people who are not. But out of those 40%, how many of those are going to be within your target audience? 1%, 2%, it's fine. It's really using LinkedIn to drill down and find them. So the engagement piece is really, really important, because on LinkedIn, if you can picture the homepage of LinkedIn, on the top left, there's a search field, isn't there? Now, as well as searching for people and jobs and groups, etc., you can search content. So you can put your keywords in there and start searching content. So, for example, somebody I worked with does apprenticeships. So we would search for apprenticeships. We'd use a little Boolean operator called AND, so apprenticeships and leads, bring up conversations around apprenticeships and leads. Brilliant. He's in there talking, commenting, sharing his expertise. And all the people who are also engaging in that post, plus the person who posted it, he can then go and connect with, because he's got a reason, a lovely reason to go and connect with those people. So that's first and foremost. You want to look for influencers, and you want to look for people who are talking about what it is that you want to talk about and who are your potential clients. And then the second piece is you can use the filters within LinkedIn to drill down and find people you want to get in front of. So you can search for location, you can search by your industry section, you can search by job titles. And you can pull up a list, a very targeted list of people that potentially within your target audience. And you can then have that list, and you want to be then looking for those opportunities to go and connect with them. So if they are active, number one, have a look at what they're posting and do that. Number two, what groups are they in? Is there any groups that they're in that you could join? Then you can then use that as a reason to open the door. We need to open the door to get the conversation going. You want to be looking for a shared connection. So who do they know? One of the best ways to leverage LinkedIn is to look at who do you know that could introduce you to somebody you want to know. So this is where it's really important to be connected to your clients. Amazing how many people I say you connect to your clients and go, yeah. Turns out they're not. When I talk to people, one of the things I always say, how do you generate leads currently? What do you do to get new business? And a lot of them, it's word of mouth. Every time, word of mouth. So LinkedIn facilitates that word of mouth. So if you can go and have a look at your best client, if their connections are open, have a look at who they're connected to. See if they can help you with introductions to people that you want to know. So was I going off a bit on tangents there? Did you get on that?
No,
There's
no.
kind of influencers engaging, and who do you know?
So let me ask you then, because I suspect, therefore, when you help your client, you want them to adopt a system or a schedule of work, because the risk is, particularly if there's someone who is going to reconnect with their LinkedIn profile, they're not in a habit yet of doing what you're asking us to do. So have you found that people need to block off time during the week? Do they need to put it into the planner? Otherwise you won't have
Yes, yes. So that's the thing. LinkedIn isn't the be all and end all. It's not a magic thing. It doesn't mean that just suddenly you're going to be on LinkedIn and suddenly, you know, leads are going to come to you. If you think about any business development activity, and this is the biggest challenge for business owners, really, because as a business owner, you've got so much to do in your business as well as, but business development, sales, marketing is a core activity for any business. So you have to think of LinkedIn as another networking group and give it time. And so, you know, you're looking at sort of at least 15, 20 minutes a day, but be targeted with that activity. I know how easy it is to go down rabbit holes on LinkedIn. It really is. And maybe have a little timer and go, right, cut off now and things like that. But know that you are going to be looking at who sent you a connection request. Who are you sending connection requests to? How are you following up with people? What are you posting? And then spend maybe 5-10 minutes looking at engaging activities and using those engagement activities to see who else you can connect with. So, I mean, one of the things that worked really well for a client of mine is that she would look at who are being shortlisted for awards. Go in and say, many congratulations on your being shortlisted. Send them a connection request saying, congratulations on being shortlisted. I love all things awards. Are you okay to connect? And she would then connect with people who were, you know, going up for awards, her target audience. And from that, she got clients because they realized how hard it is to write awards, and they outsourced it to her. Brilliant. That's all she needs to do to generate leads.
Yeah, thanks for that. It's a very good example. Kenta?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that's really, really good advice there. So
there was a time together is nearly coming to an end.
I know, sorry, I can talk forever, sorry.
No, that's why we have you on. That's why we have you on. So, Kenta, I noted down some questions that we get a lot. You'll know them during workshops. Do you want to go through those?
Yeah, so company pages, they're spoken about a lot, and I was wondering if you could just share your best practices on that.
So yeah, you know, one of the first things people say is, do I need a company page? And I always say yes, because it adds a little bit of branding to your profile. You get your logo on your profile instead of the grey box. And also it gives you another little website, so another 2,000 characters to talk about your products and services. So it just gives you a little bit more space to promote yourself. Again, same principles as your profile. You should talk about your ideal client, what their challenges are, how you help. Obviously direct them back to your website. When it comes to your company page, they've introduced a fantastic feature which I love, which is the associated hashtags. You can have up to 3 associated hashtags with your company page. So one of them should be your company name, at least. Others should be around your products, maybe your services, or maybe your location. So for example, some companies will use Leeds City Region, hashtag Leeds City Region. So if you're location based, you might want to use a hashtag around your location. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to then engage. You can follow those. You can click on the hashtag from your company page, and you can then comment and like as your company page, which I think is because one of the biggest challenges I have is trying to get people to follow a company page. And you might remember there was a feature that was there for very, very brief where you could go and invite your connections to follow a company page or follow your company page. And that went very quickly because everybody was inundated with, like my company page, follow my company page. So it is trying to get people to follow the company page. So it comes back to the company as well. So from my point of view, I'm a single business owner. I really want people to come to my profile. So all I've done is make sure that my profile is optimized, got the keywords on there, got the same messages. A lot of times you can use a very a subset of what you've got on your personal profile. But I drive traffic people to my profile. If you are a small business and you've got other people in the bit, you've got employees, then you definitely need to have a company page so that people can then connect their personal profiles to the company page, because it's this whole thing where you want to get the employees engaged with the content. And again, that's where hashtags are really good, because then you can get your employees to follow that particular hashtag so they can easily see content around your company and also engage with it. So yes, perhaps a brief snip on company pages there. Very important to have. If you're a single business owner, focus on your profile. And then if you have employees, then you want to make sure that they are all connected to it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have anything else?
And then just finally, around premium and worth, like obviously LinkedIn's great for the free version, but the value and the benefits around premium if you were to upgrade?
So my view is that you need to get to grips with the free version, play with it, really know it, because there is two versions of premium. You've got your premium, your business premium, which is approximately £45 a month, or you can pay for it annually, and you don't get a lot for your money, in my opinion. You can get, LinkedIn introduced this thing called commercial search limits. So if you are actively searching people on LinkedIn, if you're on the free version, you will very quickly hit this commercial search limit and it'll say you can't search anymore. But there's ways and means around it. Again, if you focus on the engagement piece as a way of connecting with people, the actual people search becomes less important anyway. And then there's other things like people also viewed, or, LinkedIn gives you recommendations as well. So they're always worth having a little check out if you do hit that commercial search limit. So the only other benefits of the Business Plus, the business paid version, is that you get 90 days of who's viewed your profile and some in-mails, which are emails that you can send to people who you're not directly connected to. But in my opinion, rightly or wrongly, and some people may disagree, but in my opinion, I think if you are going to send somebody an email, why not just connect with them? So, I don't use in-mails that much. I'd rather go and connect and get them into my network, because they're more likely then to see what I'm posting on my activity, and I'm going to be more visible. So for me, that's more important. So for me, I think that the premium paid version is not worth it unless you are heavily using LinkedIn. And if you're heavily using LinkedIn, then you need to be using Sales Navigator, which is their premium sales platform, and that costs approximately £65 a month. But on that, you get things where you can tag people, you can put messages, you can select who you want to follow, so you just see certain people's content on there. So it's like it's like a little mini CRM system for your LinkedIn database. But it has its bugbears as well. Unfortunately, they've not made it as doesn't look as good as LinkedIn. But so no. The short answer is no. I don't think it's worth it unless you're a really heavy user.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. So as we are just about to wrap up then, and I'm thinking out loud about someone who's going to reconnect with their LinkedIn profile, follow your advice. I'm sure they'd be rewinding and watching it again, taking notes and so on. Are there any additional bit of software or apps that make life a little easier to run a successful LinkedIn profile?
See, I thought this was a really interesting question, and I was thinking about this. So first and foremost, content obviously is the biggest thing. And I use something called feedly.com, which basically aggregates lots of website feeds, lots of blogs into one place. So I have a number of marketing companies I follow, such as HubSpot, Social Media Marketing, Social Examiner, those kind of things. So instead of having to go to each and every website, I just go to Feedly and they're all there, and I can look at very quickly at what's being posted, and if I think there's anything of interest that my audience will like. So from a content creation point of view, I think that's really useful. And having things like Canva and Pixabay as well for images, if you want to, on your header banner, if you don't have a header banner already ready from a website, you want to create your own, you can use canva.com, which is free. You need to use the exact custom sizes for your header banner though, which is 1583 by 1584 by 396 pixels. So if you think about it, LinkedIn is kind of long but narrow. And then Pixabay is a free image site. And if you just want a generic image, because anything, I don't know if you think about it, the header banner is like blue with like a little network kind of thing. It's really boring. So even if you just put something on there, generic, from a Pixabay, for example, just looks better than the default one. But again, you just need to make sure that it's long and narrow image. And then I use something called Nimble, which is a CRM system which picks up the social activities from LinkedIn. But other than that, I tend to not use any other tools. I don't use Hootsuite. I don't use Buffer. I post manually to LinkedIn, because you have to, the people who are engaging with your post within the first 60 minutes is really important. So I very rarely schedule posts. So I don't, but a lot of people do. So obviously those sorts of tools will be useful for people to use.
Thank you
So
very
I think
much.
those main ones.
No,
Appreciate it. Any other question comes to mind, Kenta?
no, I think we've been covered.
We have covered an enormous amount. So I suppose for me would be to ask you, do you know whether LinkedIn has plans to obviously evolve the platform? And if so, what can they be or could they be? And are there anything you wish LinkedIn would do better in the future as well?
Goodness me, loaded question. So LinkedIn are always tweaking the platform. There's changes always coming out. So it looks like, so one of the things, there's different people's recommend, let's go just talk about connections for a minute. When you can, my view is that when you connect with somebody, you should always personalize the message, because it's about relationship building. Other people's views are that you just connect. So, you know, connect. Now, LinkedIn, at the moment, if you send a personalized message, you've got 300 characters. They're going to, it looks like they're making that shorter, which I think is quite a bad thing, because I think we should be encouraging people to use the personalization. So I think they're looking, so LinkedIn are taking what people are saying, that they're saying that people are getting a long kind of sales messages in their connect. They're either not getting a message or they're getting sales pictures. And so that's their reason for changing that. I wish they would change Sales Navigator, because there's their premium version. I think they should make that a lot better. I'm not sure that there are any kind of major things happening at the moment. You would have thought that with the Microsoft, that Microsoft bought LinkedIn. I'm surprised there hasn't been as much more around that area. It still seems to be fairly sort of separate. Obviously, you can, there's Microsoft Dynamics that you can use with LinkedIn, and obviously you can have your profile be used in with Word and things like that. So there is some integration, but I thought there'd be more than that at the moment. So just realistically, the big thing probably is going to be the LinkedIn Live, which is slowly being rolled out. And if you are somebody who does a lot of video, actually, Pascal, and I need to send this to you, you can actually apply to go onto to pre-register for it. So I will must remember to send you the link. So if anybody is a keen videoer already, they can request to go on there and get LinkedIn Live. But from what I understand, from what I've seen, it's quite a clunky system.
Well, what a surprise.
Yes, I know, Cal, surprise, exactly.
No, I mean, honestly, no matter which version we get, I do believe that from a networking point of view, live video could be a game changer on LinkedIn. So long as you follow the rules that you've explained through this session of still be there to, you know, get found, get noticed, and get clients. So you're still taking people on a journey where you help first, connect, and then engage probably outside of LinkedIn. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to see also from good, bad, and ugly when it comes to the use of the live platform. But I'm pretty excited, but we've had to be very patient because it's been mostly given to the celebrities, as I would call them, on LinkedIn for now.
It has. It's gone to some sort of what they call influencers, but there is, and only in the States, but it is now being rolled out more across the world. So they are getting there. But from what I understand, you need to have 2 screens to be able to monitor it, and it's through a third party as well. Yeah, you have to sign up somewhere else as well. So
Interesting.
yes. I'm thinking, oh, it sounds too complicated.
It does. I mean,
It's not like on Facebook, is it, when you just start it? It doesn't seem like it's like that at all.
I have a friend in business who's got these great expressions. There's too many moving parts.
Yes, exactly. Too many moving parts. Yeah, exactly. And I think what will happen is, and I can see why LinkedIn are being quite careful at getting it out, because suddenly you're going to get loads of live Facebook, LinkedIn lives going off. And I think it'll just overwhelm and people might disengage from it potentially. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe not.
Are you saying that you're dreading seeing lots of live sessions, people in their car talking about...
Yes, exactly. Here I am in my car. Oh, no.
So talking about, knowing about what's happening in LinkedIn and so on, are you connected with the CEO of LinkedIn yourself?
Do you know, I am not. I'm not. How I know. Dreadful, eh?
Has he not invited you yet?
I know. How bad? How is he not connected with me? Yeah.
Interestingly, I got a connection request from someone senior, not Jeff, someone senior at LinkedIn. I thought I was very flattered. So I looked at the profile. It was a dreadful profile. They should have been on your course. But I said, well, never mind. Nobody can be as well informed as you are. So listen, it's been absolutely wonderful to spend time with you. I'm sure Kanta will agree. If
my
they
pleasure.
have more questions for you, or if they want to maybe, forgive me, ask for some feedback as they apply your wonderful advice, where and how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, if they come to my LinkedIn profile, that would be fantastic. So I can be found on LinkedIn at www.linkedin.com/in/Judith Parsons. I call myself Judy Parsons, the LinkedIn lady. So you could do a search for Judy Parsons, LinkedIn lady, and I'll come up. I do have a free ebook to help people with their LinkedIn profiles. So if anybody'd like a copy of that, please do connect and ask for it, and I'm more than happy to send them to it.
Super. Well, we'll put all those details in the show notes. And if you want to actually get more advice from Judith, I know that you took part in a mini podcast series as well, and we'll put the notes on that.
Yes, exactly. It's thinking about all these things that are out there somewhere, and yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the originally convenience of having a personal brand. You could Google yourself to remind yourself that.
What have I done? Yeah, exactly. That's a good tip. I like that. I think I'll just check that.
Good. I mean, sometimes I think, I'm sure I wrote this. So
yeah, exactly. I was thinking, I'm sure there was more than that, but yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen, a big thank you to Kanta for being my co-host again today. A huge thank you to you, Judith, for sharing all that wonderful knowledge and advice. And to our viewers and listeners, go out there, reconnect with your LinkedIn profile, and get yourself some more clients. Bye-bye for now.
See ya.
Bye.